A very good evening to you all and welcome to UBC News Tonight, this Tuesday, the 21st day of March 2023, and these are our top stories. In our top stories tonight, Parliament passes the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 with strict punishment for offenders. Business at Malaba border resumes a day after the nationwide demo by Azimio la Umoja in Kenya. A prosecution to disclose to defense physical exhibits in the Katumba Wamala case. And in sports, Uganda swimming star Hosna Kukundakwi returns home. Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. My name is Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. We begin in the August House, where Parliament has passed the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 with amendments introducing strict punishment for offenders. The marathon debate, chaired by Speaker Anita Among, hits hard on the Western culture, illegalizing homosexuality in the Pearl of Africa. West Budama North Member of Parliament, Fox Odoi, sacrificed his spirit to support homosexuality, but in vain. Daniel Mugoya now reports that West Budama North MP Fox Odoi's minority report was also helpless.
It was a marathon debate after the Parliament Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs tabled a report on the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 for a second reading by Parliament.
I move that it's the time that we go to the committee stage, Madam Speaker.
We have made consultation with the mover, we have harmonized, and we are comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you. To confirm that the government is fully behind this, I'm present.
The 11th Parliament seeks to pronounce itself on criminalizing homosexuality even after a similar move by the 9th Parliament was rendered null and void.
I don't want technical errors like what was made before. I am going to do a roll call. We want to confirm the quorum so that the minority member should not run to court that there was no quorum.
In 2009, when I moved this bill, we struggled with it for 5 years. We brought on this floor of the House. Even the chairperson of the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs disappeared that day. I'm very grateful that Robina is here to read the bill.
Robina Rakojo, the Vice Chairperson of the Parliament Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, presented the report which seeks to protect the rich cultural diversity which Uganda enjoys.
There's a need for a legislation to enhance offences relating to homosexuality and clear provisions for charging, investigating, prosecuting, convicting and sentencing of offenders.
Despite facing a huge heckle, West Budama North MP Fox Odoi tried in vain to stand alone and maintain his 2014 position to support the actions of homosexuality in Uganda on grounds of non-discrimination, only to be left helpless as his minority report was debunked.
Inhuman and degrading treatment, the right to a fair hearing, and finds that if Parliament enacts this into law, it will be unconstitutional. Some of the, we also argue that the bill reverses the gains registered in the fight against gender-based violence, especially against women and girls.
There's a difference between a homosexual and a homosexualist. Honorable Fox is a homosexualist. A homosexualist is the one who protects, promotes, defends, and we agreed that he is not offended to call him a homosexualist.
In fact, the minority report is silent on whether this law is not necessary per se. They are only saying that it already exists. But when a law exists and is not effective, The minority also gave the statistics of number of cases, and you see that the number were there very minimum.
The legislators agreed that the proposed anti-homosexuality legislation is a relief for Ugandans, describing the already existing laws as obsolete and incomplete.
And we have to understand that as legislators, our customs, our spirituality, and our traditions informs how we legislate. When a Western custom comes to this country and it is conflicting with ours is superior. So the African culture, the Ugandan culture is superior to any other customs that comes from out. So when we are legislating, I want us to legislate with that in mind, that we are here to promote our own culture. We have gone to some other countries. We also respect what they do there.
The MPs amended the report to have 10 years imprisonment for anyone attempting to practice homosexuality and life imprisonment for a person liable on conviction.
Clause 2 be amended as proposed by the committee and amended by the Attorney General with the 10 years on attempted. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. Nice have it.
Emerging trends show recruitment of children into homosexuality. The legislation puts a punishment of 3 years imprisonment for children offending the law.
We are not going to deviate from it. So when we are talking about children, in any legislation we make, our first point of reference is the Children's Act. So this is just being consistent with the Children's Act, and the 3 years must be looked at from that context that we are dealing with the children.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
Thanks, Daniel and Gloria, for that report. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has hailed Rotarians for serving the underprivileged communities. He says focusing towards maternal and child health improves quality health care. This was disclosed in a speech read for him by the Prime Minister, Right Honourable Robin Nabanja, during a handover of village ambulances donated by Rotary International in Munyonyo. So that K gives us more.
On behalf of the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni,
President Museveni has assured partners that government will strengthen partnerships for cooperation in various efforts. Representing the President, Prime Minister Robin Nabanja said the NRM government has improved the well-being of Ugandans through control and management of epidemics, resource mobilization.
In this Rotary year, I appreciate your efforts and focus towards maternal and child health through various service delivery and quality health care, donation of medicines, medical supplies, and equipment to various health facilities to improve quality of care, refurbishment and construction of theaters, maternity wards, and staff houses. He is aware of all this contribution.
President Museveni said government has taken health services closer to the people through a complex health system consisting of health center 2s, 3s and 4s and referral hospitals.
It is imperative to note that there are 3 main constraints hindering the success of the government health program and in a way affecting maternal health improvement. These are information gap, which affects especially women in rural areas, cultural beliefs, and lastly, the issue of corruption by public health officers who manage these health centers.
The President pledged support in carrying out monitoring and supervision of all government departments.
I have an assurance that in all Rotary and Rotary International efforts, the dream of having a well-facilitated tricycle village ambulance in every village in Uganda will indeed be achieved.
Museveni said village ambulances will address urban-rural imbalances in medical personnel. The Prime Minister also donated 10 tricycle village ambulances to support rural health centers. The State Minister of Health, Hanifa Kawuya, said the tricycle village ambulances will reduce on the maternal mortality ratio in the country.
As a Minister of Health, we continue collaboration and support.
The District Governor 9314 Peace Godfrey Talema said more ambulances are still needed to enhance service delivery.
I'm convinced that if Honorable Hope was able to buy with us, if we partnered with her and bought 5 for Museveni, I have a feeling that in the Parliament of Uganda, we can easily buy enough for our sub-counties.
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Good initiative there by Rotary International. The Parliamentary Committee on Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, has summoned the Minister for Presidency, Millie Babalanda, to appear and answer queries raised in the Auditor General's report as of 30th June 2022 relating to the financial statement of Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation, which she signed as the chairman board of directors, yet she interdicted the board in 2021. The committee chased the team of top management of UPPC that appeared before it, headed by the acting managing director, Kenneth Olumu, and ordered him to return with the minister who appointed him in that position. Take a watch.
The Parliamentary Committee on Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, has commenced inquiries into the Auditor General's report of 30th June 2022 on Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation. The report indicates that the corporation's financial state is in bad shape, hence the need for thorough investigation. COSASE members were first interested in knowing who signed on the financial statements that were handed over to the Auditor General's office in the absence of a board of directors.
Let's not answer for him, colleagues. I want to hear from him. Who signed as board chairman?
Yes. It's the minister, as I said.
We can't hear you, sir.
The minister.
The minister? Yeah. That's the Honorable Babalanda?
Yeah.
How is that? She's the board chairman now?
When we get informed that the minister, who is supposed to receive the report from the corporation and and does the oversight of the corporation, is the one signing the report, which is supposed to come to her, I find it a bit, I don't know how I can call it, but it is very outrageous and very irregular.
Uganda Printing and Publishing Act provides that the managing director be appointed by the board. However, Kenneth Oluka, who is serving in acting capacity as managing director of UPPC, was appointed by the Minister for Presidency, Millie Babalanda, which legislators say is an illegality.
Director shall be appointed by the what? The board. Simple. Was he appointed by the board? Yes or no? And then we proceed. Honorable Ntungo. Even if he has an appointment letter, but when it was not through the act, there must be a problem.
Talking to the wrong person. My view, Chair, is that the gentleman should first produce appointment instrument or the appointment letter, and we read and see what is in that appointment letter in terms of terms and reference. Then we are sure that we are dealing with the right person.
The minister, or in the absence of the board, how you can come into place, or how you can be appointed as an acting MD without the board. Is that one provided for anywhere under the Act?
The acting managing director defended his position, saying he was appointed to save the situation at UPPC at a time when all board members had been interdicted over issues of financial mismanagement.
Public servants, you are not under any control by the appointing authority under the Act because you are not appointed by the board. In other words, you are either mercenaries or masqueraders. So how would we now deal with a mercenary or a masquerader?
That I wanted to, Honorable, with due respect,
We are not masqueraders. I just wanted to clarify that. We are law-abiding.
I want to withdraw it.
Law-abiding citizens who followed instructions to save a corporation
through you, Mr.
which
Chair,
was in dire need.
I want to apologize.
After discovering the committee was not proceeding well, since the people who appeared were not the right ones to respond to the Auditor General's queries, some members of the committee proposed to see them off.
They are saying there is no board and they are appointed by the minister. Shall we send this team back? They come tomorrow with the minister and we start from there.
She has to get feedback from our guests. Let the minister lead them.
These were instructed to return on Wednesday with the minister and a number of documents that include the wage bill for 2 financial years, 2020, 2021 and 2021-2022, certificate for fixed deposit accounts in KCB, where 9 million shillings was spent, personal files for all top managers, and the budget for the 2 financial years mentioned in the report. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwitabenji at Parliament.
Now, business at Malaba border has resumed, with traders hurrying to recover from yesterday's losses as the number of trucks entering the country increased. Now, this as Kenya's Azimio la Umoja coalition leader Raila Odinga started a nationwide demonstration that interrupted traffic flow.
Thousands of trucks loaded with goods have started flocking into the country upon Kenya's Raila Odinga's extension of countrywide protest to Monday next week. Early morning, both the exit and entry route into the country was filled with cargo trucks heading to different destinations.
Businesses have resumed operations. Yesterday, businesses were interrupted because of the demonstrations that we had in Kenya, which was occasioned by demonstrations that happened in Kenya. And because Uganda is a landlocked country that depends on Kenya for both imports and exports, the business persons decided to halt operations, but when we woke up today, businesses had resumed.
Some drivers who entered the country this morning told UBC how difficult it was for them to cross Kenya's capital, Nairobi, yesterday.
Some drivers, I know, maybe parked their trucks and feared going to that area or going through Nairobi. You could see through the televisions the confrontation between the police and the demonstrators. No driver in his right senses could take someone's cargo and someone's truck to such a place. So it is always advisable, once there is such a problem anywhere, you park and you have prior information on such an occurrence.
We have the Kibla place there, where there was a lot of riots, and so many truck drivers, most of them had to stop at Mlolongo, around Mlolongo, to wait for to see what will be the outcome of the day.
Unatafuta fazi mzuri, mahali gari itakuwa safe, mahali wewe mwenyewe utakuwa safe, na mzigo ya watu mahali itakuwa safe.
Having gone through hurdles to access Ugandan side, these truck drivers appeal to the Kenyan government to stabilize the situation.
They will find the solution. They are the one to find the solution. This is all to the government to find the solution to such problems, to ensure that all the cargo gets safely from their point of origin to their point of destination.
Meanwhile, business remained normal as traders seemed vigilant, though spectacle.
When there are no trucks in town, business goes down completely. And if you are to monitor it, it's better once you get time, you just come and tour, that when there are no trucks here, you find the whole place looks just like a village.
Malaba border receives at least 750 trucks entering Uganda daily, with over 600 trucks outgoing.
To the courts of law now, where prosecution is set to disclose to defense physical exhibits in the matter where 8 people are accused of attempted murder of Works and Transport Minister General Katumba Wamala and murder of his daughter and driver. This was disclosed during the pre-trial hearing of the matter at the International War Crimes Division Court in Kololo before Judge Alice Komhanji. We have more in this story.
The 8 accused persons, Sedobola Hussein, Muhammad Kagugube, Wampa Kuzaifa, Nyanzi Yassin, Walusembi Kamada, Sulaiman Sambila, Habib Ramadan, and Abdul Ramadan Majan appeared at the International War Crimes Division Court in Kololo. They are charged with offences of aggravated robbery, terrorism, attempted murder of General Katumba Wamala, murder of his daughter Brenda Nantongo, and driver Haruna Kayondo. Before Justice Aisco Muhaji, prosecution informed court that they have so far disclosed over 8 evidence sheets as evidence to the defense. Prosecution also informed court about their readiness to disclose physical exhibits to the defense.
My Lord, we do humbly pray for one more time to engage the lawyers and see if they can get some time and go for physical inspection.
Justice Aisco Muhaji said 30th March and 5th April 2023 for prosecution to make physical disclosures to the defense at Naguru.
The inspections of the physical exhibit shall be done on the 30th of March 2023 and 5th of April 2023. Prosecution shall be required to prepare a report of that inspection and have it furnished to the court before the next hearing date.
Court will resume on 18th April 2023 for further pre-trial hearing. Counsel Geoffrey Tuliamusima is representing the accused persons.
Do the physical inspection. Now, physical inspections involves all the exhibits, tangible exhibits that were obtained from them during the arrest and during the days the offense was committed.
Prosecution alleges that the 8 accused persons and others still at large participated in the attempted murder of General Katumba Wamala, murder of his daughter Brenda Nantongo, and driver Haruna Kayondo on 1st June 2021 in Kisasi Wakiso District. Rebecca Nantongo, UBC News.
Thanks, Rebecca Nantongo, for that story. Now, on March 21st, 2020, Uganda registered her first case of COVID-19, a news that caused anxiety and panic amongst the population. 3 years since then, we reflect on what the country went through and lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic.
The date and the month might be forgotten, but the memories of COVID-19 pandemic are still fresh in many people's minds because everyone was affected either directly or indirectly. 21st March 2020 is when Uganda registered her first case of COVID-19. The case was a 36-year-old businessman from Kampala who had traveled to the United Arab Emirates and was detected at Entebbe International Airport on his return when he presented with COVID-19-like symptoms, and later the sample was confirmed positive. In the following 2 weeks, from March 21st to 5th April 2020, there was a rapid rise in the number of cases to 52. The pandemic then put the country in a fragile situation until the beginning of 2022, when some relief was realized as cases had drastically gone down.
It's 3 years ever since we got the first COVID case in Uganda. The country has gone through a lot of learning. The cycle from lockdowns to the cycle of waiting for medicines to come in the country, the number of people who had and needed treatment in ICU, that we saw the country coming together to fundraise and put resources together so that we all respond as a country. We made a lot of sacrifices as a nation of Uganda to combat COVID.
To achieve this, government took on a number of preventive interventions, including vaccination.
The greatest strength in combating COVID when it came in Uganda was good leadership. Because everything starts and falls with leadership. Once we have good leadership which makes the right decisions at the right time, who are not timid in making drastic measures and decisions which impacted all of us, but at the end of the day we see that we benefited from the wise leadership. The most next thing we had is that people listened to their leaders. The communities, the people of Uganda responded when we were being given directives, when we were being given guidance, when we were being told what to do or not to do. That was one of also the game changers. And finally, getting a vaccine available to offer to Ugandans gave us relief that the most vulnerable people, and we saw that the people were above 50 years, were able to receive vaccination, and we prevented mortality.
The Ministry of Health, however, warns the population against laxity on grounds that COVID-19 threat is still with us.
Now that the cases are coming down and we are on an average seeing about less than 12 people positive in a week in the whole country, people get a sense to feel that the disease is no longer with us. This is not so true. We've made so many economical and livelihood sacrifices so that we can have a country which is free of COVID. We got vaccines, we were able to immunize about 82% of the adults with 1 dose at least, but some people did not show up yet. We got over 40 million doses of vaccines. We still have about 13 million doses still waiting for Ugandans to come and demand.
The Minister for Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, is however concerned about the country's strength in infection prevention and control, an issue that has led to the loss of key health human resource.
Infection prevention and control, one of the areas where we are grossly behind, lacking in knowledge, and perhaps unwilling to take a step forward to make things better. And that is why whenever we get infections, it starts with the health workers. It starts with who? The health workers. Perhaps I need to step back a little and request Makerere University to come in and address that area during training.
Uganda recorded 3,626 coronavirus deaths, 107,463 coronavirus cases, and 52,961 recoveries, according to the World Health Organization. Adia Nakute, UBC.
The government is set to scale up education standards for universal primary and secondary levels in a bid to ensure access to free education starting fiscal year 2024-2025. This was disclosed by Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomosi, as one of Tuesday's cabinet decisions. This was at the Media Center here in Kampala. Marina Mukosi reports.
At least 32% of learners who attend free and compulsory primary and secondary education drop out before completion. Government has now decided to inject more funds into the education sector to increase access to free and compulsory education.
We took a decision that going forward, we are going to put in more resources in the education sector so that in the government schools, children should be able to study for free, both for primary and secondary.
Cabinet also decided to increase on the number of primary teachers to a teacher-people ratio of 1 to 40 to manage the huge population in primary level.
Government has adopted the principle of teacher-to-learner ratio of having 1 to 40, 1 teacher to 40 learners, implying that for universal primary education comprehensively, we still have a gap of 78,888.
Uganda Police will work alongside Ministry of Works and Transport to carry out a mandatory vehicle inspection, and a third party will not be required.
The government system will carry out this inspection, and there is no need of procuring a third party or an outsider to come and do inspection of our own vehicles. So one of the cardinal decisions that have been taken by Cabinet is that we are terminating all those arrangements to invite SGS to carry out the mandatory motor vehicle inspection services.
Dr. Baryomosi also reiterated government's stand on homosexuality.
So the people of Uganda and the government of Uganda abhor or do not have space for homosexuality in this country. And the government of Uganda does not condone promotion, recruitment, or even practice of homosexuality.
Government is to engage school head of schools who are not embracing universal education and yet get support from government.
And yet, government of Uganda continues to provide staff salary for these schools, instructional materials, capitation development from time to time whenever need arise. So, Cabinet has pronounced itself that with consultation moving forward, we are going to engage the foundation body and the respective schools, and we ensure that these schools also embrace universal primary, rather universal secondary education.
However, parents have responsibilities towards their children, including provision of uniform, scholastic materials, and packed food, among others.
To provide uniform for their children, for the learners. With or without, it's not a mandatory for a child to be forced out of school because of uniform. It's parents' obligation to provide scholastic materials like exercise books, pens, pencils, rulers, rubbers, and mathematical sets. Number 3, it has been approved that it is the obligation of parents to feed the learners, and the method of feeding the learners that we have approved is through packed food.
School administration have been cautioned to desist from asking for extra funds from parents in form of school fees, remedial learning or coaching fees, PTA, admission fees and bursaries, among others.
Primary and secondary. 1. Any form of fee or charge for acquisition of permanent or immovable property that remains an asset of the school, its foundation body or proprietors. 2. Any form of examination of assessment fees that are not payable to an accredited or authorized national or international examination or assessment body. 3. Any form of fee or charge for remedial learning or remedial coaching or remedial teaching. 4. Any form of facilitation fee or any charge for supplementing salaries or welfare or school employees, foundation body members, school board, senior management committee, PTA, and others.
Mary Namkose, UBC News.
Talk with freedom. Get MTN Freedom voice bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're descending into Entebbe Airport. For those proceeding to Kampala City, the biggest event in East Africa is in town.
That's right, the East African Business Expo 2023 is happening from the 23rd to the 26th of March at Kololo Grounds. Join us to network, connect, and grow. Contact us for exhibition or sponsorship opportunities. The 14th East African Procurement Forum and Business Expo 2023 is hosted by PPBA.
Now sit back and relax. It's time to explore great business opportunities.
The Chillax bundles from Airtel have been upgraded. Introducing Voice Chillax bundles. No validity, no expiry, no worries. Dial *100*1#, select voice bundles and choose your preferred Voice Chillax bundle today. Talk longer with loved ones across Uganda with Voice Chillax bundles that don't expire. Airtel, the smartphone network.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
She is our family's pride, and as her father, I will protect her from child marriage and talk to her about the dangers of teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and pregnancy, because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
The Presidential Initiative for Skilling the Girl and Boy Child informs Kampala divisions of Rubaga, Nakawa, Machindye, Kawempe and Kampala Central that registration for girls and boys of the 15 to 35 years age bracket is on the 22nd of March 2023 at the following skilling centers: Wendige Market, Mulago Community Hall at Our Lady the Help of the Sick Catholic Church, All Saints Church of Uganda Mutundwe, Nakulabi at Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Church, Luzira Prisons at St. Stephen's Church of Uganda, Subway Crested Towers Roundabout, Wabigalo Parish Community Hall, Chigo Wantinda at Butikira Parish Catholic Church, and Makere Chikoni Community Hall.
Welcome back from that break, and this is UBC News Tonight. My name is Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. Kampala Capital City Authority has appealed to government to increase the allocated budget in order to cater for the city's key development projects. This was during the council sitting to present the second budget call circular for financial year 2023-2024.
During the council sitting of the presentation of the second budget call circular of over 420 billion shillings for financial year 2023-2024, Kampala Capital City Authority appealed to government to increase the budget allocated to KCCA.
The budget has given us virtually 10% of the infrastructure budget. So the budget has several gaps. Even considering council meetings themselves, the budget is limited. We have got a sizable income right now, a sizable portion from the government of Uganda. But what we are saying is we need more to get a better result.
Following the exclusion of the Gender and Community Services Directorate from the allocated budget, the Deputy Lord Mayor Doreen Nyanjura said a good budget enables effective planning.
We are looking at gender. Not a single coin has been allocated for gender for the women, for the youths, and also for the people living with disabilities. So this budget does not entirely make sense. We are talking about creation of more working spaces. It has been our cry as policymakers that we need more markets to be constructed. You and me see almost on a daily basis how women are harassed off the streets of Kampala, so they have nowhere to go.
Kawempe North Councillor Bonnie Bukenya, also a member of the Revenue Committee, said over 160 billion designed for Kampala City Roads Rehabilitation Project won't serve the city's strategic plan.
We have a strategic plan for Kampala, which should run until 2030. At least Kampala should be given, as a city, should be given 1 trillion to handle that strategic plan. So I beg the Minister of Finance to look into this matter, because this is the capital city.
The Treasurer indicates that over 70% of the country's revenue comes from Kampala, and by law, the fund is directed to the Treasury, which leaves KCCA with less funds to meet its needs.
Kampala as a capital city, in the national budget, the package is small, but we are collecting a lot of revenue. If at all the collection is left in Kampala, part of the solutions will be good.
We've also discovered a lot of money that has been earmarked on governance. But at the end of the day, there is nothing in the governance being done. Only the allowances and the salaries of the executive director and other technical wings. So we condone and totally disagree with the Department of Governance because it's not supervised. We don't know how that money is used. We don't know where that money goes. We propose, and that's what we're going to be submitting in different committees. That money should be diverted on setting new schools, new hospitals, and also upgrading our roads.
KCCA committees will submit the proposed budget to Parliament for approval. Joshua Kagoro, Justin Nakami, UBC News.
The Inspector General of Police, John Martins Okoth-Ochola, has urged management of the Police Exodus Circle to adopt technology in order to enhance transparency and accountability. The IGP was represented by the Director, Counter-Terrorism, AIGP Abbas Byakagaba, at the 10th Annual General Meeting of the Exodus Circle.
The Inspector General of Police, John Martins Okoth-Ochola, has instructed management of Police Exodus Circle to adapt to improved technology for transparency and timely accountability. It follows complaints raised by Circle members.
With the help of ICT, there must be automation of service provision to enable our officers access their money through ATM cards or financial information and transactions on their telephones or email addresses.
The IGP was represented by the Director Counter-Terrorism, AIGP Abbas Byakagaba, who challenged members to utilize SAC operations to upscale officers' welfare.
And this will successfully be attained through the following: providing quarterly statements, quarterly interactions with PAC, member economic participation, continuous training and education to members, ensuring voluntary and open membership.
We are going to continue carrying out education, training, education and sensitization of the members. And we are going to work it, we are not going to work it alone, we are going to work with the Uganda Cooperative Alliance.
The Circle's share capital increased from 6.45 billion shillings to 9.44 billion shillings.
It's an achievement because out of this sensitization that we moved around the country with all the board and management staff, we explained the perception members have been having that Circle is not performing. We explained to them what we have achieved in that time since we came in. Increased membership, increased savings, increased share capital has increased.
The total assets of the Circle in 2022 increased to 57.3 billion shillings, representing a 27.8% growth.
We have benchmarked in some of the circles in this country, from the biggest to the smallest, to share experiences, get the best practices so that we can improve Exodus Circle. The biggest thing that we are working on is now building the image of Exodus Circle.
Monitoring and delays among creditors are affecting the Circle's liquidity.
There is still delayed payment by major creditors, and this has made it difficult with the other statutory deductions which have time limits. There is still a challenge of monitoring and evaluating in order to assess the impact of the loans given to the members.
Members have complaints on the Circle management on accessing their funds. The Exodus Circle, with 42,990 members, has 29 billion shillings in savings. Abdul Nasser Lubwama and Marion Awori for UBC News.
To Mukono now, where management of Mukono Regional Referral Hospital has been put on spot following allegation of corruption and bribery. The Inspector General of Government, Namisango Betty Kamia, made a sport visit to the hospital to interface with the hospital management, patients and caretakers. It was during this visit that some patients and caretakers accused the hospital management of extorting money from patients seeking emergency care.
The IGG Betty Kamia has embarked on a nationwide tour where she will engage with the local people. Last year, the Office of the Inspectorate of Government launched a revised form of fighting graft, introducing a partnership with the public to take the lead. On her first leg, the IGG visited Mukono district
where she engaged with district local government leaders.
Previously, it was seen as if it's government and government agencies on one side and the people on the other side. But we have gone out to, with a new policy of engaging the people and recruiting them to own the war against corruption, because the people are the victims.
Then Kamia set out and made impromptu visit to McConnell Regional Referral Hospital. Here she was guided to tour the facility.
This is where we see postnatal mothers, 6 weeks. This is our office for the gynecologist.
At first, the general picture revealed a colorful ambience with most health workers on duty.
The medical superintendent, the senior doctor, was around. The surgeon is around. The nurses, the midwives. There seems to be fairly a comfortable environment.
But when the IGG visited the maternity ward, some patients and caretakers accused the facility management of extorting money for services that are supposed to be free.
They had finished, before they even finish the operation, they ask you the money, please bring the balance, before they even release the what? The patient. Maybe let's use this amount.
In defense, the medical superintendent Geoffrey Cassidy said some patients belong to the private wing where services are paid for.
You go to Kaolo, there's grade A. When you go to Mulago, there's grade A. When you go to Jinja, there's grade A. When you go to Kaolo, there's grade A. So we have no crime committed when people pay.
He failed to account for the no receipts issued. The IGG pledged to investigate the matter.
So how are your patients?
We are still waiting for them.
They are on operation? Yeah. They are both, is it the same person or different? Different. C-section.
Uganda loses at least 10 trillion shillings annually to corruption, which is equivalent to 44% of the revenue collected. Shaidat Nasaku, Dokas Kimono, UBC.
We'll now take yet another short break and return with business.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Tecno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256GB storage, G88 gaming processor, and a strong battery to last the whole day. Towakana.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3GB from Airtel and 100% bonus on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months, so you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial *100*5# to enjoy free data. The new Spark 10 is available in all selected Tecno shops countrywide. Airtel, the smartphone network in partnership with Tecno. Stop at nothing.
The Presidential Initiative for Skilling the Girl and Boy Child informs Kampala divisions of Rubaga, Nakawa, Machindye, Kawempe and Kampala Central that registration for girls and boys of the 15 to 35 years age bracket is on the 22nd of March 2023 at the following skilling centers: Wendige Market, Mulago Community Hall at Our Lady the Help of the Sick Catholic Church, All Saints Church of Uganda Mutundwe, Nakulabi at Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Church, Luzira Prisons at St. Stephen's Church of Uganda, Subway Crested Towers Roundabout, Wabigalo Parish Community Hall, Chigowa Ntinda at Butikira Parish Catholic Church, and Makere Chikoni Community Hall. The registration exercise and the training are free of charge. Requirements include a photocopy of the national ID or the guardian's or the parent's ID for minors bearing the LC1 stamp, signature and phone contact, and 4 recent passport photos. For more information, call 0716 144 562.
Jerry con. Jerry con. Hey, Master Blaster. Touch him, man. Bang Jerry con with muscle. Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava. Best movies I teach you. When I go to the muscari, because of the cover that is very far. Is you serious? Is serious you? What? Yeah? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs and you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru and Umaru refuse to give you enough meat. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you.
Okakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu tere kitulema.
With God, comfort replaces pain, peace replaces confusion, hope replaces sorrow. God loves you and knows you personally. He hears you and speaks to you in your thoughts, in your heart, and through living prophets. Come hear the words God has for you. Watch the General Conference on Sunday, 2nd of April.
Welcome back. Let's have a look now at what's happening in the world of business. The Ministry of Finance, together with development partners, have launched a public investment financing strategy. The policy is geared at establishing robust and sustainable financing mechanisms for the achievement of the national development plans. We have more in this story.
In 2018, Government of Uganda adopted a policy that requires it to borrow up to 1% of GDP on average per financial year from the domestic financial market. However, the increasing development in financing requirements in the recent years have resulted in an increase in domestic borrowing relative to the country's GDP above the set maximum.
Me, I'm tired of borrowing, by the way, let me tell you the truth. I'm very tired of borrowing. We must look for different ways on how we can raise funds to develop Uganda apart from borrowing. The implementation of this financing plan is a priority for government. I therefore urge every Ugandan individual, development partner, private sector player, ministry, department and the agency to peruse the strategy so that you can participate in financing for development of our country, Uganda.
This has prompted the launch of the Public Investment Financing Strategy, which seeks to establish robust and sustainable financing mechanisms for government programs from domestic and external options.
Looking at also other key accelerators for financing for development in Uganda. Tourism has been mentioned by PSFU this morning. Another very important area of work again, and this has also been mentioned, is in the area of trade, positioning Uganda as a fast mover in the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And the government of Uganda and UNDP launched the SMEs for Trade initiative to unlock potential of the AFCFTA in Uganda.
The approach also provides a platform for collaborations between government and the private sector.
So basically, the development partners remain committed to support the governmental institutions led by the Ministry of Finance, Planning, Economic Development.
The Public Investment Financing Strategy comes at a time when the growth of global economies is constrained and thus resulting in huge budgetary deficit and the need to borrow more to bridge the gap.
Dennis Sigoa with that report. Now, the director, Makerere University Business School Jinja Campus, Dr. Veronica Muchala, says the establishment of Jinja City has brought steady development to Busoga region. She says since the center's establishment, it offers 30% discount to new entrants.
Congratulations. Makerere University Business School headquarters at Nakawa in Kampala, Port Bay Road. The council thought it's important that they needed to increase access to university education to people in various regions. But education is expensive for people in the rural areas. And yet, as prominent leaders, as prominent businessmen and businesswomen, as prominent bankers, establishing Makerere University Business School that we know has registered to be or is known to be the best in business and management education in Africa makes it very easy for people in the Busoga region, people in Teso region, people in Bugisu region to have access to the university education. The education is cheap because students in this region, in our branch here in Jinja, enjoy a 30% tuition cut. There is a very, very good interaction between the students and the facilitators, call them the lecturers, and the administrators. We are trying our best to see that we have a massive enrollment. We have over 1,000 students here at the moment.
Now, Airtel Mobile Commerce Uganda Limited has entered a strategic partnership with Prudential Assurance Uganda Limited and Incitec Turaco Insurance Brokers Limited to provide Hospital Center, a low-cost hospital cash insurance product with funeral benefits. The partnership will increase access to insurance for underdeserved communities and low-income individuals and families. The cover will also ease Airtel Money's customers' financial burden associated with hospital admissions and bereavement. Hospital Center offers beneficiaries a cash payout if they are hospitalized.
This product comes in to say that if you don't go out that day because you've been hospitalized in a hospital or a clinic that is certified by the Ministry of Health, we are willing, based on the plan you selected, whether gold, silver, gold, or platinum, to pay you a daily amount up to the tune of 100,000 shillings a day to a maximum of 1 million shillings a year into your pocket to compensate for the income you've lost because you're hospitalized. That's as simple as it is. But we also recognize that people sometimes lose family members, and that's a very difficult moment. So you can see that for the platinum cover and as well as all the others, there's a funeral benefit, and the platinum gives you a maximum of 4 million for a funeral benefit. You select who the next of kin would be, and once the next of kin passes away and there's evidence, we pay you that amount.
The product is a reimbursement policy or cashback policy, which means that the customer will have to first go to a hospital, get discharged out of that hospital after 2, 3, 4 days, and then make a claim after they've been discharged.
This product is going to be accessible to anybody who has Airtel Money. As long as you have Airtel Money, which means also anybody who has an Airtel SIM card, if you dial *185*7*6# and you follow the prompt, you can either buy or claim. These are the basics that we need to have. You don't need to worry about anything else. The first month, I'm sure you have been told, is free. And you know, during that free time, if you have a claim, it will be paid on time. I know there is a question that everybody is asking, who will be accountable to the customer? I want to assure you that Airtel Money is the face of the customer. That's why the service is hosted there. Should you have a claim, once you submit it, it's my responsibility as the managing director to ensure that that claim is honored and is paid on time. The payment will come straight away to your wallet, so you don't have to leave the comfort of your home.
But I think it's a good product. We can get for our family members, because most of the time now, like when you're an employee, you get over 50 phone calls. People want support, villages from the rural area. They call you, you're just a phone call away. I have this problem, I have this. So you can pay for them.
We look forward to more and more partnerships, new products, because these are impactful and they reach the people directly. That small phone can save your medical bills. Can get entangled with the border, the bed, and this small credit can be your beginning point, turning point.
Now, the latest real estate market report published by Stanbic Properties Limited indicates a 4% surge in demand for office space in Kampala City. Stanbic Properties Limited Chief Executive Spencer Sabiti said that the Kampala office market leasing activity for grade A and B has witnessed a solid recovery.
What you've been executing in like Bulindo may not work in Kororo, and vice versa. What you would put in
rent for decent office space in and around Kampala has reportedly stagnated as compared to neighboring urban centers of McConnell and Wakiso, which registered an annual increase. A research report by Stanbic Properties Limited, a subsidiary of Stanbic Uganda Holdings, indicate a 4% surge in demand for office space in Kampala as compared to Wakiso and Mukono that have registered annual rental growth of 10% and 6% as of December 2022.
I know it's because of physical planning. If physical planning needs to have a serious intervention on this is not the first time I'm talking about it, because if you go to other cities, Nairobi, Rwanda, and South Africa, you find that the municipal councils are very, very particular on zoning.
The report indicates changes in price, demand, and related variables for residential, retail, office, rental, hospitality spaces in different parts of Kampala metropolitan areas for the last 6 months of 2022.
So these main supermarkets that have opened up have killed, I would say, the real deal, because this used to be like big centers, but now you find a huge supermarket like in Mukono that sells the same price like would come in a game.
The report found that rent for grade C declined, while those for grade A and B quality space remained stable in the second half of 2022.
But more importantly, there was a sense of protection for the tenants, because up to that point, tenants felt they were at a disadvantage. I mean, landlords would come and evict tenants without notice or very short notice. Landlords would raise rent as and when they wanted. So, to a large extent, the Act brought some kind of stability.
Prime locations on the ground and first floors continue to be keenly sought after as retailers took advantage of tenant-favored markets to secure more accommodative rents.
Traffic jam, security, insufficient parking, they've now moved back to town. And that's why you see there is a rise in the demand for grade A and B. Then you're asking if there are other numbers that move from C downwards. Definitely, that one will always be there. The standards of living always change, and it's basically higher currently. So
according to the report, Kampala residential market year-on-year rents for standalone houses stagnated in Kampala's upscale residential suburbs of Kololo, Naguru, Nakasero, and Bugolobi were registered at a median price of US $3,500 per month.
For example, if you're staying in Bulindo, you might be paying $500,000. How much fuel do you use every day? Where does your child go to school? So when you calculate all those and compound into one rate, it's better to come and stay in Bukoto. So those are the calculations people have done, and they're coming back to condominium setting as opposed to staying in those grade C buildings. And most of the condominiums that are coming up currently are high standard.
Tony Hilda and Deo Habimana, UBC.
Sports news now, and we begin with swimming, where Uganda's swimming star Husna Kukundakwi has returned home after a successful World Para-Swimming Series and classification in Sheffield, UK. John Ban Sentamu reports.
The smile on her face clearly tells that she achieved almost 90% of what travelled her to the UK. Though there was competition to put her on course for a return to the Paralympics in 2024, her major achievement is the latest classification to enable her compete in the right grade.
Classification in paraswimming is where they place certain different types of people with disabilities according to like similar disabilities. So it's a fair game. Like a person like me is S8. My class was lowered to S8 because I have no lower right arm and two incomplete fingers. Yeah. So my class was lowered to S8. But before I was in S9, where you'd find people who are like me, like missing one limb or half a limb, and they're in S9, and they have a full palm or maybe a full toe or full foot or anything. So classification is basically the distribution of different kinds of disabilities across each other so that it's more of a fair swimming competition. As per right now, I'm in S8, which is for freestyle backstroke butterfly. For breaststroke, I'm in SB8. That one stayed the same. I've always been in SB8. And for SM8, which is for individual medley, where you do the 200 IM.
Before classification, we felt that she was competing unfairly. Like she has said, competing with people with a full palm, have a better propulsive force compared to a person who has only 2 fingers. So every time she would compete in certain events, she would really struggle with that. So they had to lower the classification that can compete fairly with people who have the same impairment. So we feel like now we are in a field where we're playing fairly, and I expect to do better than before.
Kukundakwe also took part in the British World Paraswimming Series, in which she qualified for the World Paraswimming Championships due in Manchester in July. At the World Paraswimming Championships in Manchester, she will compete in the 100-meter breaststroke and butterfly, and also the 200-meter individual medley with targets of qualifying for the 2024 Paris Paralympics.
I'm very, very happy about that. Very, very excited to go for the championships. And if I am given the opportunity to go and try to qualify again, I will try to qualify for more. But right now, I'm very happy to have qualified for this year.
Because this has been an eye-opener, as usual. Like we have, I must say that there was a lot of progress. The first event we used to qualify for 1, now we are qualifying for 3. But unfortunately, we would like to qualify for more events to give us a better experience and also improve our opportunities of swimming at the Olympics. We have identified areas that we need to improve, especially events like freestyle. So we have come back home, and that's why we're going to focus regarding our trainings.
Some sports in Uganda, notably swimming, are a parent-child affair, and little wonder Husna's mother, Hashima Biramahaire, is the manager.
It really feels good to take an athlete to compete and you get good results. When Husna qualifies on merit for big events, it shows that anyone can qualify. They just have to put in a lot of energy, put in a lot of dedication, and yeah, they can also qualify because you can see that Husna is changing that game from going to participate on wild card, but going on merit after qualification.
Back home, after a successful outing, Kukundakwe now takes a short break to focus on her education before resuming thorough training ahead of the World Championships. John Barnes, Centam, UBC News.
Now to cricket, where the Cricket Cranes 4-match ODI tour to Qatar has ended with the team losing to Qatar by 4 wickets in the 4th and final match played against Qatar at Doha University of Science and Technology. The Cranes were elected to bat first and only managed to set a target score of 155 runs in 38.2 overs due to a quick fall to wickets. Batsmen Kenneth Waiswa, Simon Sezasi and Riazat Ali Shah posted 29, 31 and 22 runs respectively to boost Uganda's scores, but they were caught and bowled out before they could do any more damage to their hosts. Now when it came to bowling, Uganda put up a good fight with Henry Senyondo and Alpesh Ramjani collecting 2 wickets each. But this was not enough, as the Qatar side proved the better team, posting 156 runs for 6 wickets in 47.4 overs. Qataris Kuram Shahzad and Ikramullah Mohammed registered 45 and 39 runs for their side. The game ended with 155 runs all out for Uganda and 156 runs for 6 wickets for Qatar, making it 2 wins and 2 losses each team. The Ugandan team left for Qatar on the 14th of March 2023 and will return on the 24th of March 2023. And with that, we finally come to this bulletin. Thank you so much for having kept us company. My name is Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been